Hello, everybody. Hello, hail, and welcome. Welcome to this very special, off the schedule video for Midgard Musings. Everybody knows my name is Jesse, or at least I hope you know. And I am the host for this weekly, this channel's weekly video. I do a weekly video discussing, here currently we're discussing Havamal. But today is a special off-the-schedule video. And I already said that. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. In the description of this video, you're going to see a link for a channel. Because we're going to be talking today about something that I've sort of touched on a little bit before. But today is a very specific reason why I'm talking about it. So in the description of this video, you're going to see a link to a video that I posted a few months ago about how or what to do as heathens, or how to behave or how to act or how to deal with our family that doesn't necessarily agree with or condone our path or our choice in life. And the reason why I'm doing this video today is to elaborate a little bit about something that recently happened with my family. And the interesting thing for me with this whole thing is that I'm not a very, I don't tend to be a very public person when it comes to my personal life. When it comes to the internet or social media and stuff, I tend to keep my personal business and my family life and things that regard my innangard, my inner circle, very private, for obvious reasons, right? You're not in my innangard, you're not a part of that innangard, you're not privy to know what's going on. So this video is going to sort of break outside of that comfort zone for me a little bit. The reason I am doing this, though, is because the subject that I'm about to talk about is probably something that we can all relate to, because it kind of touches on this whole thing about how family deals with us and close people in our lives deal with us when it comes to our beliefs and the path that we've chosen to follow. Now, for those that don't really know too much about me, I come from a background with a lot of Christian values and very strong and very devout, Abrahamic God beliefs. So when it came out to my family that I no longer believe in that, or that I no longer follow those teachings or that path, and that I am instead now a pagan, it obviously wasn't met with too much positivity, if you will. I still talk to my family, I still talk to my mom and my dad and my sister, but specifically my parents, they don't agree with it. They don't agree with it, they don't condone it. And that's, I totally expect that. You know, we all would expect that those of our family who follow a Christian path would not necessarily agree with or even condone the heathen way. But without going into too great detail, I'm going to bring you, my viewers, my subscribers, and everybody who supported me in this endeavor, this Midgard Musings endeavor, I'm going to bring you temporarily into my innangard. Okay? So, my dad is not in the greatest of health. Hasn't been for some time. And I'm living in Tennessee with my wife. My family, where I'm from, my family is still living in New York. So there's 1,000 miles plus difference between where I am and where my family is. So it's difficult at times to deal with the fact that my father's in failing health and is declining. And I'm not just right down the road to be able to go and visit him or see him or spend time with him whenever I feel like it, because it's so far away. So when things arise and when things come up that are challenging for him, one of the things that he's dealing with is a loss of hearing. We can only really communicate extensively through text message. And he communicates to me sometimes, and he tells me about how things are, and that things are difficult, and that the weather can play a factor in his health and the way he feels. I'm sitting here like, well, what can I do? Dad, is there anything that I can do to help? And given some recent turn of events within my father's relationship with my mother, some things have come up with him that he told me about that have given him reason to believe that his marriage may be in jeopardy. Now, my mother and my father have known each other since high school. They started dating when my father was 17, my mother was 15. This was back in the 60s, or early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and they've been together ever since. So to hear that, I'm like, as anybody would possibly be, why now, after all these years? And I didn't know what I could do. I'm 1,000 miles away in Tennessee. My dad's opening up to me, and I go, Dad, what can I do? So my dad tells me, if you have belief or faith, I forget his exact words, but if you believe in God, if you have faith in God, pray for my soul. Now, how many of us have been in this particular or this somewhat similar set of circumstances where our family asks us or talks to us about things that we don't necessarily follow, the paths that we don't follow, and we're conflicted in a way? So I read what my dad sends me, tells me to pray for his soul. And I didn't reply right away. And I thought about it. And I said, I'm pretty sure that whatever I speak to his God won't be heard because of what and who I am. So I decided I'm going to speak with my gods. I'm going to speak with my ancestors. I'm going to kind of isolate myself, open up my altar, cast some runes, and see what the gods and my ancestors have to say about the situation. So I did, and the rune casting that I did was a 7 runes appeared in the casting that I did. 7 runes came up, and so I decided to do what is called a Mimir's head rune casting. Basically, your first 2 bottom runes are the issue at hand. The next 2 rows of runes are the reason why the issue exists. The 3rd row, which are the next 2 runes, the 5th and 6th runes, indicate what the resolution is, or how to resolve the problem. And then the 7th rune, the top rune, is the final result. I did my casting, laid them out, read them. The following day I sent a text back to my dad, and my words were I didn't say, hey Dad, I went and I spoke to my pagan gods, and I cast runes, and I did an ancient ritual, and I did all this stuff to kind of, I didn't tell him that. I said, Dad, I meditated on this, and here's what I've seen, and here's what has been given to me to understand. I gave him the results of the reading, what the issue was, why the issue exists, how the issue can be resolved, and what the result of all of that can be. And guys, when I told him that, it took him a day or so to reply. Actually, this was last night, and he replied back today, and his words to me were, "You speak from wisdom and truth." Now guys, I want to kind of stress how amazing and how impactful those words were to me for this situation. Because coming from where my dad's sitting, you know, and the type of belief system that my mom and my dad are in, I presented to him a knowledge or something that the runes gave to me without even telling him that this was something that was a, you know, pagan practice. The reason that I obviously, you know, the reason that I didn't tell him that was because I'm like, you know, I respect his beliefs just as much as they've respected mine. They may not agree with it, but they're like, hey, that's what you're going to do. Whatever. We won't talk about it. And I respect that. And when I told him the results of my rune casting, without telling him that it was a rune casting, to hear him say that there's wisdom and truth in it really hit the nail on the head for me. In the sense that it is very, very possible, and it is very probable that many of us who have family or close people in our lives that don't necessarily agree with our certain path or our choice in life, we can still influence them in some way, in positive ways. You know? And I said, Dad, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're telling me this. Thank you. I hope that this has been helpful. And he says, it has. Guys, what more could you ask for? Father to son, mother to daughter, mother to son, father to daughter, brother to sister, however your family is, whatever your family situation is, what more could you ask for than to be given those types of words from someone who means so much to you and who you may not be able to always be with personally or affect personally in some way? Anyways, guys, the reason why I'm telling this to you and the reason why I've brought you in to my innangard momentarily is to let you know that you don't have, there's no reason for hostility, there's no reason for any sort of malice from us as heathens and as pagans. Now, it's difficult sometimes because depending on your family and depending on the situation, you may be met with some hostility. And you may be facing some situations with your family that, you know, don't give you the opportunity to share with them your path. I don't talk to my family about what I believe in a whole lot because there's a conflict there, you know? But the fact that I was able to do something with good intentions and with good and wholesome and with positive reasons behind it, the fact that I got to do that and share that with my father in his time of troubles or his time of need really, really helped me deal with the fact that even though I'm 1,000 miles away, plus, or more, even though I'm all this distance away, I'm still able to do things and impact him in a way that made him feel good about the situation. So I encourage everybody that's listening and that's watching right now to maybe take a moment and think about how you can impact your family without pushing your beliefs. I didn't go to my dad and say, well, Dad, today I sat, lit a candle, and summoned and invoked Odin and Thor and Heimdall and some of these other gods who I spoke with last night and my ancient ancestors who I don't know personally from physical form. I didn't tell him all that. I didn't tell him that I sat at my altar and cast runes and meditated on runes for over an hour. I didn't tell him all that. But I was able to provide to him some information that was beneficial to him. So guys, I'm hoping that maybe this experience of mine is able to help you in your dealings with your friends or your family or your close relations or people that are close to you in your lives, in your dealings with them. Those that have maybe, you know, not agreed with or opposed your beliefs. There's no reason to shun them. There's no reason to avoid them. embrace your beliefs, embrace your gods, embrace your ancestors, embrace the path that you have chosen to walk. Don't walk this path in fear. Don't walk this path in, any sort of doubt. Be bold. Be respectful, but be bold. Anyways, guys, I hope this has been a helpful video for you. I hope you guys all will tune in with me again on Sunday, which will be the first video for June 3rd. We're going to be discussing the next 9 stanzas of Havamal. We're about halfway through Havamal. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I hope you guys tune in. Please, if you haven't already, take a chance to subscribe. The subscribe button is right down here, right below this video. Check the description box for all the ways that you can support my channel by following me on Facebook at Midgard Musings. There's going to be a PayPal link that you can also donate to this channel if you so choose, to help me build the content here, to provide better content for everybody that watches. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. I will see you all again in the next video. Hail.